Welcome to the Fantasy Addiction Network. Today we are talking Week 15 recap of the Bears-Packers game. Final score on this one, Packers 21, Bears 13. This definitely was more of a defensive battle, but there were a few exciting moments that gave us some good fantasy outcome for the skill position players in this game, so let's break it down here. We'll start with the Bears side. Mitchell Trubisky with 53 pass attempts, 29 completions, 334 yards. He had one touchdown on this one, 2 interceptions. One was kind of a bogus one. They did like a Hail Mary at the end of the first half that, it still counts for fantasy, but then the second one was tremendous grab by the defensive end for the Packers. Just great interception. I don't really fault Trubisky with either of those, but they hurt his day. He also had 4 carries for 29 yards. So overall, not a great game from Trubisky for fantasy, but if you started him, you'll take that. Could have been much worse. Tariq Cohen, the running back with the most fantasy points on the day, 8 carries for 28 yards, but also had 7 receptions on 10 targets for 57 yards. It's 2 games in a row now against the Packers that they just deployed Cohen a ton. And he looked good out there. David Montgomery not looking too good out there. 14 carries for only 39 yards. He had 1 reception for 10 yards. No touchdowns on this one. David Montgomery, pretty much of a stinker for fantasy football. Looking at the receivers, Anthony Miller with a huge day. 9 receptions, 15 targets, 118 yards and a touchdown. You started Anthony Miller, you're over the moon. Allen Robinson just keeps getting it done. He's been one of the most silent, consistent fantasy plays this year. Very underrated for fantasy, but 7 receptions, 14 targets, 125 yards. Not really much else going on there for the Bears other than those main guys. So we'll switch over to the Packers side. Aaron Rodgers, 16 of 33, only 203 yards on this one. Had the 1 touchdown at Davante Adams. He also had 3 carries for 23 yards. Just again, pretty low outcome from Aaron Rodgers in this game, but they got the win, so that's what they're going for. Aaron Jones somehow managed to get 0 targets in this one, but still saved your fantasy day. If you started him, he had 13 carries for 51 yards and 2 scores. Jamal Williams, 8 carries for 26 yards, 1 catch on 1 target for 7 yards. So only targeted the running backs 1 time in this game. I would look for the Packers to fix that going forward, but that's just how it went. Davante Adams with a nice stat line for you. 7 catches on 13 targets for 103 yards and a touchdown. He had 2 drops in this game, so he could have had a much better day. Not really too much else going on. Jake Kumaro had a catch for 49 yards. Allison had 2 catches on 4 targets for 19 yards. Allen Lazard, 2 catches, 3 targets, 14 yards. So just tiny output amongst the rest of the receivers here. Jimmy Graham, 1 catch for 0 yards. You're not starting any tight end here, but Packers defense did pretty good. 2 interceptions and a forced fumble with a fumble recovery. This game definitely could have been a lot different. Near the beginning of the game, there was a kick-catch interference call against the Bears that probably shouldn't have been called. Actually, it really shouldn't have been called, and that could have changed the entire outcome of the game, but here we are. So, looking at the fantasy options, I think at this point, you're probably going to keep starting Robinson and Miller going forward. If Miller keeps playing like this, there's no reason to bench him, but didn't really get too much information here other than I would expect Aaron Jones to get more targets going forward. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this recap. We'll carry this information into our preview going forward. If you do like this, please feel free to like and subscribe to my channel. It'll get you more information for the rest of the Week 16 games and the recap for Week 15 to get you guys done with that fantasy championship and take home that fantasy title. All right, hope you guys have a good one. See you in the next one.